me.
And so for the last topic that we have for today, there's been a lot of stuff going on with PlayStation recently. Within like the last solid year, I'd say like before shit went down with COVID,
Up until now.
yeah, up until now, it's been kind of like a lot of random news from PlayStation that was most of it bad, but there's the good that comes
Yeah.
with it also. But
Yeah.
some of those things we kind of been talking about in our group chat, and we were thinking we should discuss it. So a couple of things that took place was just recently. There was like a big cry for Sean Layden to come back.
The
to
former
be
CEO
the
of
CEO of
PlayStation, yeah.
PlayStation, right? Because currently we have Jim Ryan as the CEO of PlayStation, but Sean Layden was the CEO of PlayStation somewhere around like 2019. Sometime in 2019, he stepped down. Jim Ryan took over for that. Now, Jim Ryan has been a part of the company for the longest. He's had a big position, but he stepped up to CEO sometime in 2019. And if you know like the specific time or we got the year wrong, let us know in the comments. But on top of that, Days Gone has had a petition going around once the news broke out that Days Gone 2 was canceled. And that petition has reached 50K in signatures.
It's the most ever on that petition site, right?
Yeah, I
The
believe
most signatures
so.
ever
Yeah,
received.
it's hit a record.
Yeah.
So it's pretty crazy that there's 50,000 people, and there's got to be a lot more that wanted to see,
That's crazy.
Days Gone 2. I don't know the math of it. Maybe one of y'all want to do the calculator, but if the bitch costs $60 or 70 if they want to do it, and you add in, the 50K
50,000,
people, that's
a lot
quite
of
a
good
bit,
money.
money,
Exactly.
right? So on top of that, PlayStation decided to renege on what they previously said with shutting down all the PlayStation stores
That's
for
huge.
PlayStation 3, PlayStation Vita,
PSP.
whatever else, a PSP. So they have decided to reopen the PlayStation, or not reopen, but not close the
close it.
PlayStation 3 store and the PS Vita store,
Nice.
which is good for, what we were talking about previously, that there was actually developers still doing games for the Vita. They'll still be able to do those games and put them on the store so that people can purchase them. But that, along with some news that we had heard, that PlayStation was kind of all about the Metacritic score,
yeah.
which makes sense while we heard the pushback from Cyberpunk 2077 and them saying that for Metacritic reasons, they wanted to make sure that their score was good. So they wanted to push it back another month. And we were like, that sounds like
cares?
bullshit. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like something else must be going on or whatever.
Yeah.
We
and
were
then
kind
you
of
see
looking at
Sony
it like
remove
that.
them from the store altogether.
They removed them
Yeah.
completely from the store, which is
Yeah.
the first time
That's
that a
ever
game
happened.
has
Right.
that's ever happened. Right? They've broken PlayStation history by getting removed from the damn
You know
game
what's
store.
crazy is I was looking at a chart recently for the sales, a pie chart of the sales for Cyberpunk.
Okay.
Which
All PC.
platform. No, it was like 50 over 50%
Yeah,
PC.
it was 55%
yeah,
PC
it was
Stadia.
close to 60.
Yep.
But of course, that's one of the only places you can get it other than Xbox.
Right.
But PlayStation still had like 27% or something of the
Damn.
pie, and it was only open for like those few days.
Right.
So even in just
crazy.
those few days, it,
Like a week or some
it sold
shit, right?
almost double Xbox to this date. Xbox is like 17 or 18%. It's
That's
like,
crazy,
dude. Even just that. Well, you see why C wants so desperately to get back onto the
Yeah.
PlayStation platform.
Right, because there's
you
a
know?
lot of people
It's
that
money, dude.
have PlayStations and they want to play that.
Yeah.
But it was kind of leading me into this thought of like this kind of spiral of a downfall for PlayStation and why things have been the way they've been, right? Why did we have this which seems like an ill-prepared launch for a PlayStation 5 console. You know what I mean? We have all of these other little aspects like
COVID.
that one piece. Yeah, COVID being a big one. That one piece that is like in short short supply right now.
Right.
Yeah, the conductors
Semiconductors
and
yeah.
stuff like that, but it seems like if you're a big company like this and you're preparing for something like this, that you would be fully
for the
prepared.
last couple of years. You've been preparing, right?
Right, you've been
Exactly.
fully prepared, but now everybody's taking a shit,
Mhm.
and you know, and it's like, what's going on here? I mean, you know, Xbox has got some answering to do for this because they've been in the short also, so you know, it's kind of weird or whatever. But for all of this stuff to kind of come out, it almost seems like PlayStation started tanking a little bit in the public opinion once Jim Ryan went into CEO position. It almost seems like Sean Layden, you know, I mean, also, I think like before Sean Layden was like super into the wasn't he into like the PSVR and stuff like that? And he was into like the PS Vita. And then all of a sudden they're like, no more PS Vita
He
games.
loved those platforms.
Yeah.
He was incredible. Sean Lennon was really cool. He understood the gamer. He was totally right. He said that the industry needs to be moving away from 40, 50, 60-hour games and producing more high-quality 12 to 15-hour games, which he's totally right. I would like that. If we had really high-quality games coming out periodically, rather than these big ones like Cyberpunk, right, or whatever, I'd rather have like little quicker, shorter games, but more often, because we're waiting so long for games in between. You know, and you have to remember, Sean Layden, he was the head of Sony during like that great PS4 generation. We're talking like, you know, Last of Us 2, God of War. We're talking, you know, Spider-Man launch, all these great games that are iconic from PlayStation 4 generation.
Yeah.
Dude, he was at the forefront of those great E3 showcases where
He was
Sony
always
just
on
like
stage.
socked Microsoft in the face, where we were just like blown away. And then all of a sudden Sean Layden leaves. Sony no longer goes to E3 anymore. They don't care. It's just a whole really weird, different direction, you know, they're taking their company.
Yeah, and then it's like, okay, you coming out with new IPs such as Days Gone and whatnot, and you're not willing to take the criticism and the hardships that you got from the first one and then come out with a second one that's your IP and try to show and prove, like, hey, this game belongs in our repertoire.
I don't think that would have
like,
happened under
try
Sean
this
Layden.
out. Yeah, it seems like you gave up too quick on the title. You know what I mean? Regardless of
I agree.
it not making this meta score or whatever, Metacritic score, that's a good game. Like, I'm enjoying playing Days Gone. You know what I mean? So it just seems really weird. Like, all of a sudden now you guys care about this Metacritic score. Like, that's one website. I mean, yeah, a lot of people go to it, but it's such a small thing in there. I don't see why you would look at all the other factors that come in with these games.
I've been thinking
you know?
about the Metacritic score, and this is just speculation, but you know how on some platforms they show you like the IMDb? I think on Amazon they show you the IMDb ranking.
Right.
I have a feeling maybe PlayStation's going to start implementing
The
maybe a
Metacritic score into their
and try
thing.
to leverage that to, buy this game. It's really good.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's full price, but hey, it got a 90 on Metacritic, so buy it. So I think
Must-play badge, right? It
Yeah.
has the must-play badge
Yeah.
that Metacritic does
they
now,
might have a
right?
must-play category in their
Yeah.
shop, because why are they caring so much? I could understand, like, no, actually I can't understand. I don't know why they're caring what critics say so much, unless it's going to be something public-facing, like to everybody. Because some people don't even go on Metacritic. You know, some people may not be aware of it.
I think Metacritic really only plays a role if the game hypertanks, right? Like, if people are really excited about a game and it just does average, like 7 to 8, I don't think
That's not a bad
I don't
score.
think Metacritic is ruining game sales.
No.
I think Metacritic can ruin a game sale if it's like Crackdown, right? Where you're waiting for this game and it comes out and it's a 40 something under 550, like a less. Then Metacritic really hurt you, because a lot of people who might have bought Crackdown 3, because people were waiting for that game.
Right.
Metacritic trashed that game hard. But I don't think Metacritic trashed Outriders at all. Outriders is still like one of the top 5 selling games of like the last month selling, even though it's on Xbox Game Pass. It still sells like the number 1 selling game.
Okay.
And that only got like in the 70s, you know, it wasn't like this ultra high Metacritic score. It didn't matter. If people are excited enough about it, the Metacritic score is only going to have so much of an impact.
Yeah.
Right.
You know?
And your community is going to have a way more impact than that.
Yeah, I don't think Days Gone failed because of the Metacritic score. It failed because, 1, the bugs, and 2, I don't think Sony had a very good marketing campaign for it. Do you remember PSX?
Yeah.
We went there and they had like these nice, awesome stands for like some of the big games coming out. Shadow of the Colossus.
Spider-Man.
Yeah,
Spider-Man had a good
That was
exhibit.
sick.
they had Days Gone in the corner and no gameplay, no videos. It was just like a little zombie place that people can take pictures at.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah, like a little
yeah.
cemetery yard or something.
Remember,
of
we
that
walked
nature.
over like, wait, this is it?
This is
I
that.
remember that.
Yeah,
were
because
like,
I
this
thought
is
we were
all-
gonna
It was
get a
kinda
chance.
confusing.
Yeah.
I
We
think
were
you hit a
hyped.
button and then something happened, like interaction, or you waited and something happened, and
Yeah.
then you're like, okay, next.
Yeah, because we
But-
were hyped about seeing Days Gone on the list on the showcase.
it's 'cause one of the
what was
new
gonna be out there on the
IPs.
floor
Yeah.
because we thought we were gonna get a chance to play
But
it.
you're right. It didn't really hype up the game. It was cool visually, but it didn't really tell you jack squat about
nothing
what-
about the game.
Yeah.
And I was like, what are they hiding this game for? For some reason, something internally, they felt some way about it. So it had nothing to do with the Metacritic score. Because that's long before the Metacritic score was ever even a factor. The game hadn't even launched yet. So just their marketing campaign seemed to shit on that game.
I got a question though. We didn't
that's a good
when we
point.
went to the last PSX, we didn't get a chance to play Horizon Zero Dawn, did we? Right, because they just had Aloy and one
The
of those
robot.
dinosaur robots
Oh,
out
yeah.
there.
That was before the game.
That was before
Or
it
that
launched.
was out. That was before launch. That was the first PSX though, right? That was like the very first one or the second one.
I think
That was the
the
San
second.
Francisco one.
No, that was the one we went. Excuse me. Because remember when we were waiting outside in line, right?
Right.
The robot dino was
Yeah, I was
walking around.
walking around.
That was when I went with you guys.
That was
Well,
at
was that
Anaheim.
the
LA,
that
yeah.
wasn't the
But
first
that
one?
was
though,
also
Oh,
it?
at the
second.
previous one too,
Second, yeah.
at San Francisco.
Oh, okay.
Because that's when Daniel went with us. I still have that picture of you, me, and
Right,
Daniel
right, right,
standing
right.
next to that robot.
But I
And
think
brought
they were
that robot
still-
back.
I think they were
when
still
the game
showing
had
it
already
on the
launched.
third,
The game
right?
had already launched by then, huh?
Oh,
They
okay.
that wasn't that the third one that they were showing that still.
Yeah, but the game had already launched. I think when Mark saw the robot,
Uh-huh.
the game had already launched by then.
Oh, okay.
So they were just promoting their characters.
Got you.
Right.
That they have. I
But
just
we
never
never got a
thought
chance
Days
to play that
Gone
one.
got the same treatment as some of the other games did. They just didn't.
One that I wish that I would see a second on is actually Order 1886
Oh yeah.
because I thought that one was a good game, and they had showcased it and whatnot, and it was a short game.
Yeah.
But I thought the story was cool, and I thought the weapons and stuff like that was cool. But
There was a
for
lot of
some reason, it
potential
just
there.
never went anywhere after that. I
It's
don't know why.
unique potential game. I remember being hyped as heck for that game.
Yeah.
It didn't quite live up to the hype.
No,
I
it
will
didn't.
say that. So
Yeah.
that's what I think hurt it,
Mm-hmm.
because the hype was so high for it that it didn't quite live up to the hype. But it wasn't that bad. I played it all the way through. I enjoyed it all the way through. It wasn't like a masterpiece, of course, but
And it
was
looked
fine.
phenomenal, dude.
And it
That
looked
game
cool.
looked
That was
good.
remember that's a PS4 launch title.
That is.
So it looked really good for
Not
PS4.
even PS4 Pro, but PS4. So
yeah, launch.
yeah, that
Yeah.
that sucker looked good, man.
was cool.
I was like really like, whoa,
You remember when we
dope.
saw that when they were first revealing the PlayStation 4? That was one of the launch titles, and just blown away by how that looked. I was like, man, this is a sweet leap in graphical fidelity.
Right.
Yeah, and it just vanished.
You know what? I'm kind of surprised to see that Order 1886 was not in the PlayStation collection
Oh yeah,
as like one of the games that they just gave away. I
because it
wonder
wasn't
why.
a Metacritic success.
Maybe.
So they're only taking their top tiers and
Yeah,
they're giving them.
Dude, the Metacritic
But
thing
you-
is
They should
affecting a
be
lot of
giving
people.
like they should have had like all of their games that they've offered up until a certain time frame just there available for you to play
Yeah,
because there's a lot of gems in there that people are just passing up
Yeah, that's true.
or never will get to experience because you still have to pay for it or whatever.
right.
I mean, you could obviously go to GameStop and get Order 1886 for probably like $10 if you can find a used copy, but
Yeah.
I thought that it was a good
It's
game.
worth playing. It's like a 10-hour game.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. The Sean Layden. I like those kind of games where
Yeah.
you like
Like
10 to
Miles
15
Morales,
hours.
that's
like
so-
Miles Morales. Yeah, like
yeah.
that sold more. Miles Morales has sold more than Last
Than
of Us
the
2 and
PS4.
Ghost of Tsushima. They just released the numbers.
Dang.
So to say like these shorter, not super short, like 5 hours, not like Astro Boy short,
Right.
but like 10 to 15-hour games. That's a good route.
Yeah, no, for
like
And it had a lot in it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just it was a lot in that Spider-Man game. So, there
Yeah,
was
so,
plenty
like-
of stuff to do.
like Sean Layden was, I think PlayStation there was like almost no negatives. While he was at the head for that era of PlayStation 4, there really was like no negatives for PlayStation, and now there are.
Yeah, even you would look at like the PlayStation Vita, and some people would be like, not even as interested, but Sean Layden was literally keeping that thing alive. Like, oh, we're still gonna produce games for this,
I still want
or
to
there's still gonna be people that will produce games for
Dude,
this.
I
thing.
almost wanted to go buy a Vita. When I heard they're going to reopen the store, it's like, okay, maybe now I need to go rebuy my old Vita.
yeah.
I had sold that a while ago. But there's some sweet indies on that system.
Yeah.
Really good indies on that,
Yeah, there
on that
was.
system. And they ran really well.
I remember the last one we went to, and there was literally like a shitload of PS Vitas. out there on the floor. For
Yeah.
all of the
Oh,
indies, and you were able to play stuff like Salt and Sanctuary.
Yes, you played a few of them,
couple
yeah.
of things like that.
Yeah. And they ran really well.
Yeah.
And I was listening to Colin Moriarty. You guys, know who that is,
Right,
old
right.
IGN guy. He develops for the Vita. He has games he's developing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And he's developing for the Vita. And
Was
he
he
was
crushed when they
dude,
found
he
out that the
was
store was closed?
mad.
Yeah.
He was really mad. And dude, I didn't realize this, but he's like, yeah, we were so pissed. He's like, dude, Sony just sold us a Vita dev kit in March. And then they closed it in April. Literally, they sold one to them.
Yeah.
When they knew in the 2 weeks we're closing it. We're going to announce the closure of it. How weird is that? Like,
That just seems
Honestly,
like that was like
internally,
a,
they
a
didn't know either.
decision upstairs, and they didn't let
that's why
anything
that's
slow
a Jim
down.
Ryan thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, he doesn't see it, I don't know what it was. I had to have been the outcry, of course, by the community. And of course, they probably saw a huge uptick in sales because of panic buying, but
Yeah, maybe.
So that kind of leads me to like this question that I had for you guys. Do you think that it should be business before pleasure, or do you think that it should matter more? Like the pleasure should be like the top thing. Like it seemed like as we talk about Sean Layden and whatnot, the things that he loved was video games. So he tended to make video games more of the priority. You know what I mean? Creating these new IPs, whether they excel or not. You know what I mean? He's still letting these new IPs get produced so that we have some unique stuff coming out, and keeping things alive like the PS Vita, even though it might not be extremely lucrative, you know what I mean? Or that they might not produce a lot of stuff, but he allows other people to produce things for it. Whereas you have now that it seemed to switch with Metacritic, scores being like top priority, and you ain't getting a sequel unless this shit gets a 95 or something, to being like all about the money. Let's remake this shit that we just remastered 2 years ago. Let's remake it and get more money off this same title that we've been floating for like 6 years. You know what I mean? It seems more like all they're gonna do is just keep remaking the good shit over and over again to resell it to us, and you're gonna have like 4 or 5 copies of the same game in your library when it's all said and done. Like I mean, to me, I would think that your biggest thing would be your consumers, right? The people who will play that one-off IP or whatever and enjoy that, which means you can create more to do that. I mean, I feel like all of these games have made money. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Days Gone didn't make a lot. But do you think
it made money? We don't know the numbers specifically.
Right, but do you think it should be more business orientated and all about the profits, or do you think they should be putting more of the customers forward, more of the desires of the fans, and they would be able to make just as much money as they have been?
Well, I would say that it's cool because the studios, the developers of games, they always want to innovate. They always want the best games.
Right.
So you have that mentality. And then you have all the execs, all these shareholders and everything. They want money. So you're always going to have those two clashing. You know what I mean? You have the creative people versus the day-to-day business operation. We want money, money, money. So I think those two people are always going to be in the same room with games. Obviously, the game is the most important thing. You want high quality innovation. You don't want to be nickel and dime like the Avengers. You don't want all this crap. Because all that is terrible.
Right.
You want competition too. I think is good too that they do care to a certain extent. Like, hey, we need to create bangers because they're setting the bar from themselves really high. But that can't be the only thing that you look at. It has to be a balance. So I think maybe right now they're trying to fine tune that balance. But right now it's skewing more towards the business side, and it's nasty. They're getting backlash from the community, rightfully so. So hopefully internally they're fine tuning. Okay, let's scale back a little bit on the business and go more towards the games. But I think it's always like a teeter-totter. You're always gonna have both, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's definitely a balance. Because you have people who want to create, but it's impossible to create without capital, right? And so you have to have the CEOs, the money. And so you're going to always have those people in the room, and you have to appeal to them because you need capital, right? And so that's always going to be a dynamic that exists. I do think, though, that, and it's hard to hand over trust of your money, right? It's hard to do that. Even think about it. Like investing into somebody and trusting them to produce is a scary, difficult thing to do. And so that's what you're asking a lot of these guys to do when they invest in a game. And so I get that. But at the same time, you need to have that feeling of freedom to create.
Yeah.
You don't get business unless it's pleasurable, I guess, with your wording.
Mm-hmm.
The game needs to be pleasurable for me to want to buy it, right? And so oftentimes the way you get creative is by having the freedom.
Fun with it.
Yeah, having fun with it and not feeling so pressured and not feeling like, damn, is this going to be an 80, 90 Metacritic score? Like, that's going to rob your ability to create. And so that's what I think Sony had the best balance of.
Mm-hmm.
Which we keep bringing up Sean
They had
Layden.
a lot of creative
But
games
they had a lot
there.
of creative games, and I always felt that every time someone went to Sony as a developer, they loved to work for Sony because they were able to make the games that they wanted to make, and they always were bangers. Like, almost everything Sony released was, like, incredible.
Only the bangers.
Right? Yeah, like, it was insane. Like, everything was high scores. And it's like you ask yourself, well, how did we do that? It wasn't by just making remakes. It wasn't by just redoing everything over again, right? It makes me wonder what would have happened. We talked about Jake and Daxter.
Yeah.
What if Naughty Dog had went in that direction and not the Last of Us direction, or not the Uncharted direction? What would have come of that studio had they not felt the freedom to create and make a new IP? And
Right,
Sony
'cause
was
they
like,
started
no,
off-
Jack and Daxter was a good game. You know what? Make that again for us.
Yeah, because they
No,
started
Sony
off
said
doing like
make which-
Crash Bandicoot
yes.
and Jack and Daxter and
Right.
stuff
It's
like that.
what if
yeah,
they just
Ratchet
kept
and Clank
making
or whatever.
those? Hey, those worked. Those made money. No, Sony, they felt free. And look what they made, man. They made these incredible IPs that they're making movies off of and TV shows off of now that people adore and can't wait to buy the next one off the shelf. That all came from the freedom that Sony gave these developers. And I think everyone's always felt that way. Insomniac, all these producers that these studios that Sony owns have always felt that way. And now we're hearing all this now. All this all of a sudden now, right? Around Days Gone. I mean, even if there was a game that Sony had in the past that didn't quite do as well as like a Last of Us level game, still did pretty darn well and was given the green light to keep making games. Now all of a sudden we're hearing this weird message from Sony that it's, all about the profits and no longer. That's where it's like with Mark, when you're going all about that and no longer about the pleasure
You're
at
not
all.
even trying to do it like 60, 40, 50, 50 or something.
Yeah, it's not even like it's just like a 90-10.
Yeah.
Where it's like, goodness, man, you're not going to have good games. You're going to destroy the PlayStation brand. That's why I said, I bet Housemarque is shitting bricks, man. I know why they pushed it back. They're dreading what's going to happen if they don't get a good Metacritic score.
Right, because we've seen
Now we know.
what happens when you get a shit Metacritic score. Your game gets
get
pulled
hacked.
off the damn list. You can no longer make a sale on my platform because of your shit Metacritic score. We're taking it off. So now you got to make your bread and butter somewhere else and be able to afford all of the updates and changes to make your game a good game from all of those other places. And then you could try again coming back to us. And it's just like, damn, man, we've had so many games pushed back after Cyberpunk. And this has got to be one of those reasons why. This Metacritic score. At that point, I'm almost not trusting Metacritic anymore. Because if I'm any of those other places, I'm calling Metacritic up. Hey, man, so we got this game coming out, right? It's supposed to be coming out next week. What do I need to get you to get me a 95 on this Metacritic score?
Well,
You
we
know
don't
what
want
I
it to
mean?
be tarnished like that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
but
you
it seems
almost,
like that would be a call that would be made
you have to
to a
decide
Metacritic
yourself.
person.
You have to decide yourself, Like, if it's a game you really wanted to play it. Even
Yeah.
if you
Even
had
if
a
you
low
hear
score.
bad stuff
Yeah,
about
play
it,
it if
yeah.
you really wanted to play it.
And
Like, you
it's-
gave Medium a try, even though it didn't get the greatest of scores. You fired it up still.
Yeah, but at
And
the
it
same time,
wasn't
I
good.
didn't look at the Metacritic scores.
Oh, okay.
And it
But
made
had
it.
you, would it stopped you from trying it? I think you still would have tried it.
Yeah, I would have checked it out
Yeah.
just to see. But what makes a big difference is whether or not it cost me. Like,
Well,
would
yeah,
I
of
have
course.
bought Medium to try
Yeah.
and see
If it
the
was a
Metacritic
10, you
score?
would have.
Nah, hell
Yeah,
no.
if it
I
was a
mean,
10,
if
you
it was
might have.
10,
Yeah,
then I
right.
might, think
Yeah.
about it. But it was just the simple fact that it was free,
Yeah.
so that I could check it out and do it. So, I mean, you're kind of putting a lot at risk, right, when you get all of these other reviews of stuff. But if you listen to the solid reviewers that are complaining about the game, but reviewing it, they're saying that Cyberpunk is good. It's just got a lot of shit flaws in it. Once they fix the flaws, it's good. That's the same way that I feel. Like, it's a great game underneath all of those flaws, underneath the acne and the bad teeth. All it needs is some bracers and a little bit of face wash. And that's a bad one right there. You know what I mean? So it's like, you know, damn, like, how much are you going to put into these things? You know, I try to, it's a little bit easier to take that frame of thought with like a movie, like, oh, the movie gets shit ratings, but it's only like, you know, $10 or whatever.
And it's only
I'm gonna go
2 hours
see
of my life.
And it's only 2 hours of my life, yeah. But when you $60, $70, you know, for a game, and it's got shit ratings, hold on now. Might have to wait, because I can't just return this because you know, the game sucks. I can't just return it. Once I've cracked the seal, that is mine. Now I got to get the GameStop price for it back if I want to try to get rid of it, you know? So it's a little bit more at risk. So I understand, but it's like, damn, man.
Plus, I think too, it's like the trust of the studio. Like, for example, Blizzard, now Blizzard Activision, used to be one of my favorite studios of all time. All of the people who made Blizzard
are leaving,
are gone. They started their own studios.
I think everyone's. Are there still a couple, or is everyone?
I'm sure there's
probably a few that was originally there.
I would say the majority of everyone that made these magical games are gone. So when I see that they're making Diablo 2 remake, Warcraft 3 remake, they're making WoW classic servers. It's
They're
like
running out of
that's their Metacritic, their bangers. They can't make new bangers.
It's the same situation with Sony, right?
Yeah.
They're doing the remake.
They're running out of their
They're
creators
remaking
because they're running them off.
That's why I'm like, dude, Diablo 4 out. I don't think Diablo 4 is going to come out for a long time, and it's probably not going to be very good because I don't know who's left. They're just like, okay, let's just remake all the bangers we have because we can't make new bangers. And if we do release anything, they're going to, with like a freaking microscope, analyze this compared to our old work. And we can't create that because we don't got those people. So I think.
Yeah, the guy that just made Overwatch left. Yeah. The creative director behind Overwatch just left. And Overwatch is a banger, man. Like, I mean, it's not really my type of game, but you could see how incredibly polished and awesome that game is. You can just see it with your two eyes.
Everybody's gone.
Like, that's a huge loss. And he was like over 20 years. What? Dude, you're close to retiring now, man. Like, what happened?
Yeah.
That make you not just wait a few more years to retire. Like, what's going on behind closed doors?
I mean, if you've been with a company for 20 years
and you leave,
like, you're
something's wrong, dude. Something's major wrong.
But that also, you know, that you bring that up, that leads me to think, you know, so like Blue Point, the Schmigiggins group for a PlayStation or whatever, you know, like these people have been hired to just remake shit, old shit. And they don't want to do that. They'll do it because they got to pay the bills, but they don't want to do that. Their complaint is that they want to make a new IP. They want to do something new. So the fact that PlayStation isn't allowing the Schmigiggins group to make a new game, no, just redo this shit that, you know, that's, you know, did absurdly well when it first came out. Just remake that. You be cool. We pay you. You know what I mean? Like, these people they don't want to do that. So they breaking off. They leaving. Like, you know what I mean? I don't want to do that shit. Like, it's already been done. I want something new to put my name up under so people can say my name when, you know, or they think of my name when they hear the title of the game, or they hear the company and they think of the people that
like,
that
you
work
should
for
be
that
allowed to do that once you've made a great game, even if it's a remake. Like the Demon Souls, Blue Point, they've earned the right. In my opinion, they've earned the right to make a game, dude. Make what you want and we'll buy it.
You know what works. You know?
Yeah,
so,
like I think
figure it out.
It's worth trusting them to make a game. And if it fails, then they don't give them their chance. But they should get that
back
chance.
to remakes. Yeah, you get out of the dungeon.
It's the same thing with the Schmigiggins group, right? They didn't even get a chance to prove their worth. Because that's what they were trying to do. They were trying to prove their worth by remaking Last of Us. See, look we can do it. Here's how good we are. And Sony yanked it from them and then dispersed them and threw it to Naughty Dog, which doesn't have time to make the Last of Us remake. Right. So they said they're working on it, but they said it's on the back burner. Like, they're not.
Did they?
Yeah, they're not concerned with making that game right now.
Okay.
Which I get it. They got other games, you know. And what's his name? The lead creative director of Naughty Dog. What's the guy's name?
I don't know.
He
Are
made
you talking
Last
about
of
the
Us.
new guy who came back?
No.
Oh,
I'm not
Neil
sure.
Druckmann?
Yeah, Neil Druckmann. He came out and was saying they got some incredible things they can't wait to share with us. So like clearly they're working
They
on
were
some
working
new
on some
things.
other
I don't
stuff,
think they
yeah.
wanted this project thrown on their table.
Right, because didn't Sony take that from the Schmegigans group?
Yes.
Like, oh, this looks great. Yoink.
Yes.
And then, hey, Naughty Dog, finish this up, man. You guys did great on the first one. Go ahead,
Yes,
finish this
that's
up.
the
It's already
problem
been
here.
started for you guys. Don't worry about it. You just finish this up. Clean it up. So it's
Yeah.
like, damn, like, all right, boss, yeah, I'll do this, but like I had other shit I was
Yes,
doing. So
yes.
do you want me to finish this stuff first, or do you want me to get on this? Like, what's the priority sequence here?
We keep talking about developers, and Microsoft buying new developers. I worry that Sony loses like some of their great developers. When you hear like that lead designer leaving Naughty Dog to go work on Marvel, I feel like things like that turning into a trend, kind of like what happened with Blizzard.
Except
and
that
EA.
guy realized that he went to a shit show, and so he
That
left to
game
come
was a
back.
mess.
He
Yeah,
said
that
he's
game
back,
was a
man.
mess, man. Yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, man, making games is hard. You
Yeah.
know, and now people know how lucrative games are. You have all these execs and you have all these pressures for loot boxes and things. So I would say making games is even harder now because now you have that pressure. All right, everyone else has loot boxes, but we don't want that. That's terrible. How are we gonna add monetization? It makes it so more complicated, and there's just so much more business in games that when we were kids playing Super Mario, Pokemon, we didn't have to worry about DLCs or anything like that. That didn't exist.
Right.
It was
Right.
just they made the game, you had fun.
There
you
was
had
no
fun.
updates or anything.
It's like
what you
wanna
got was the
update?
final product.
It's like you want to
That's
update
it.
for a game back then. It was an expansion. You go to the store, you buy a separate box. A couple of years later, and it has all this stuff. Now it's just like you're nickeled and dimed, and I would say every day, every year, it gets harder and harder to make games, and
Absolutely.
it's turning into a monster.
I put a couple quotes up on the board from John Garvin, the lead creative director from Days Gone. I kind of was curious about what you guys thought
Oh yeah,
about his recent
heard this.
comments.
So,
I
Rhea?
think he kind of put his foot in his mouth a little bit because a lot of people were on his side. Like you mentioned the 50K
the petitions and all that stuff. Yeah.
at the start of this segment, how they're really seeing a lot of boost in player base and support for their game. And he came out and said, if you love a game, buy it at, he said, F word, full price.
whoa.
And
Full
then,
price?
yeah, buy it at effing full price. And don't complain don't complain about not getting a sequel if you didn't buy it at full price at launch.
At launch.
What?
At launch.
All right, so yeah, let's talk about each of these statements. I'll start with the first one. So he's saying, if you love a game, buy it at full price. Keep in mind, most games are new. How are you gonna love something that you never tried, that just came out on launch day one?
Exactly.
It's like a booster pack at that point. It's just, hey, let's see what I get. So I would never just spend full price on something that I have no idea. I would wait.
Who would?
Yeah, who would?
Well, I mean, when you're getting like all of the trailers and you're getting like, maybe like the first 5 minutes of gameplay, or you're getting gameplay footage or whatever, you kind of got like a general idea of whether you like the game or
Yeah.
if it's something
Yeah.
you'll pass on, right? You kind of got like, I'll buy the game or whatever. But depending
rare
on how
though,
that
bro.
is,
Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, depending on how that is, like me and you, like, all three of us, like when we look at the trailers, we look at gameplay footage, we're looking at graphics, all of that stuff, some of the abilities or whatever that's going on in the game, the story or whatnot. If it looks interesting, that's something that we gonna cop. We didn't seen enough of Kenna to know we gonna buy Kenna day one when that shit comes out. So we haven't played a lick of the game, but we know what we
but
want.
I'm saying those are rare. Like, so
Yeah.
for instance, Judgment just came out, which is like from the Yakuza line, but it's not a Yakuza, it's a new one.
Okay.
I'm not just gonna go out and buy that full price right now. Yeah, it's supposed to be a good game. It's getting decent reviews. I'm not gonna go buy that full price, right? Like that's unrealistic. Like the majority of the games that I've purchased at full price on launch are oftentimes sequels.
Sequels. Hey,
You're
hey,
right.
I love the first one.
I think you're right. Like, yeah, exactly. Once you know you loved it, now I can't wait for the next one to come out.
Right.
Like Risk of Rain 2. I bought Risk of Rain really cheap on a
great game.
Steam summer sale. I really liked it. because I had seen videos of it,
Yeah.
but I still wasn't going to pay full price for it. I got it on a sale.
Right.
And when the 2 launched out, I bought it day one. I bought Risk of Rain 2 on launch, like he's saying. But I didn't buy original Risk of Rain on launch. So it's like, yeah, you have to produce a game, make it awesome. I didn't buy Mortal Fingers Rising on launch. I waited till I got a sell on that. That's a brand new IP.
Yeah.
And I liked what I saw when I saw the trailers, right?
But
But now that I really like Mortal Fingers Rising, I might buy Mortal Fingers Rising 2 on launch day. I might pre-order it, right? Where I never would have before. You see, like, yes, you're right, Stone. Like, there are some games. Oftentimes, it's when, like, the developer's great.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, I bought The Last of Us day one, even though it was a new
Anything
IP, but
Naughty
it's
Dog
Naughty
is really producing.
Yeah, exactly.
You
So
already know what
exactly.
their pedigree
so
is.
there's more
you're
like
getting it.
nuance there. To like, it's very rare when a brand new game, like I didn't buy Death Stranding. It's very rare when like a brand new game comes out that no one's seen or ever heard of. Like, let's say Blue Point, and it looks incredible, it looks dope, and I buy it day one. I'm probably going to wait and see. Or I'm going to try to maybe get it on a sale.
Absolutely. And I think it makes it even more harder when we have games like Genshin Impact coming out out of nowhere for free. You're trying these free-to-play games that are like high caliber.
Good
all these
point.
shooters now. So your game has to be incredible for me to buy it full price day one. Because there's games like, let's say, Pokemon. I'll always buy Pokemon games. Even if I don't even play them, I buy them all because I love Pokemon. It has a lot of, nostalgia there.
Right.
That's rare.
They've already built that up in you.
Yes.
Yeah, the name Pokemon.
Yeah,
name
it's already been
Pokemon
built.
It's gonna
Yeah.
sell, yeah.
That's so for me, for the statement, I love Pokemon. But for you to use that in the context of the backlash from your game, dude, you used it incorrectly. Completely, you missed the mark here. Because this does not compare to your game at all.
Okay, so I had never heard of Bend Studios, right? So I was just looking at some of the games that they've developed because they've developed quite a few games, and they've been established since 1993. So they're an old company.
So this is who made Days Gone.
This is who made Days Gone. So they've done Bubsy 3D. I remember Bubsy. It's the little
ringing
shit
a
talking rabbit
Oh, okay.
that
Yeah.
was like
It's kind
it
of like
was
a rabbit,
PlayStation.
kind of, but it's not.
It had a short life.
Yeah.
Really short life. They did a whole bunch of siphon filters.
Oh,
Like,
yes,
mad
that's right.
siphon
Siphon filters were very good games.
Right. So
Yes.
they did a whole bunch of siphon filters, and then they did Resistance, Retribution. So that was for
a PS3.
but it was a portable one. The Retribution
Yeah,
was
you had
the
Resistance
portable
Fall of
one.
Man, which was the PS3.
So the
and
PSP.
Resistance 2. So that was like a PSP
It was a
version.
PSP
Ooh,
game,
I
yeah.
see.
So and then they did Uncharted Golden Abyss
Right.
and Uncharted Fight for Fortune.
So Golden
both
Abyss
on
was
the
another Vita.
Yes.
Both of those were both
So
of
they
those
were more
Vita.
of a Vita developer then.
Well, no, they just only did those two. They did those two games Vita, and then they did that one game, the PlayStation
I mean, more
Portable.
recently they were Vita. Their
Yeah.
more recent
From
work has been
2009
Vita
to
work.
2012, they were doing portable joints, the
Okay.
handheld joints.
And
for
then they
PlayStation.
switched in 2012. It sounds like to start developing Days Gone.
No, yeah, I guess after the release of Uncharted Fight for Fortune, they decided to set their sights on a console game.
Yeah.
So 2019 is when Days Gone came out. So it literally came out like
Yeah.
less than
It
2
took
years
them years
ago.
to develop that. Yeah.
Right, and then they have it for PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
So when you've been doing those other games and stuff like that, I mean, I
See,
know
that-
Siphon Filter's been out for a while, but
We like Siphon
Dude,
Filter.
Siphon Filter was
Those
dope.
are really cool. Why don't they make another one of those?
remember
Damn,
those,
that's
dude.
cool.
Dude, the
But-
Siphon Filter got a 90 on Metacritic.
Yes.
The first one.
Siphon Filter was sick. I didn't know they were that talented.
Dude, my cousin had that game for the
I'm
original
wondering if they
PlayStation.
lost some of their talent
the
from that
directors
day.
or something.
Dude, but
or
from
some
the
of
first
creative
game,
people?
the first game got a 90, and that was the highest score they ever got. Then it started going to 80, 73, 60s. So,
Yeah.
Siphon Filters, that is.
Yes,
So
right.
the first one was the best, and then it started kind of...
What did Uncharted
Siphon
get?
Filter was sick.
The
Golden whatever.
the Golden
Abyss or
Abyss or,
something?
whatever.
let me
Fight for Fortune.
Let me check that game real quick. Uncharted Golden Abyss. It got
Probably average.
Where's the...
It was cool, but it was like
I think I played
it was kind of
Yeah, I think-
gimmicky because
yeah,
they were
I
trying to
think we
utilize
both
every
played
aspect
that,
of the
yeah.
damn Vita. With the
Yeah.
back and having to touch the back and climb up the
Right.
vines and stuff like that.
Right.
But yeah, so I mean, Ben
Got an
Studios-
80.
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Solid
I mean,
game.
solid
Solid.
scores
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But I don't know. I think it goes to what you were talking about, some of the promotion stuff. Like I know I always saw a lot about Days Gone, you know what I mean. But I didn't really see like no intensive gameplay and things like that. You know, I just saw more so like the swarms.
Mm-hmm.
They were always, if I recall correctly, they were always advertising how many freakers or zombies that they could get on the screen at one time. That was like their ode to fame. You know what I mean? Their claim to fame or whatever. So, you know, that's cool and all, but, you know, there's more aspects to a game than how much shit you got to kill on the screen.
They weren't showing a lot of gameplay. They weren't showing a lot of story. They weren't showing a whole lot more than like this cool feature of these mass. Look at this. You've never seen this before. A whole wave of zombies. And they're all on screen without glitching and tearing, right? And so like that was the thing that they were promoting. But there's a lot more to that game than that.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it sounds like a really unique experience amongst zombie games, and they weren't really demonstrating that or promoting that or letting us play that.
Right.
Yeah, I never saw really Days Gone topping on the Twitch charts because I sometimes it's a good indicator of hype at first. You know, you see this game, oh, it's in the top 5 today. Let's check it out. Is there a big guy? Is there a big streamer playing it, or is it just popular? I never really saw Days Gone up there that much. I hardly remember it. And like you're saying about zombie, I feel like it sucks too that has zombies in it because, dude, like we're kind of burnt out of zombie
saturated
stuff.
field. Yeah.
Like, come on. Like
I think that
they
was
call them
probably,
something else, but
yeah, but you know, games with zombies in it, we got too many of those at this point.
Yeah.
They probably.
But at the time when it released, there was a zombie craze going on. So when it released within that craze time.
My thinking is though, like,
yeah, you're right.
When Sony already has like the greatest zombie game of all time, you don't need another zombie game.
What's the greatest zombie game of all
time?
time?
Last of Us.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying, in Sony's mind, whether you agree with me or not, they're thinking it's the greatest zombie game of all time. Why are we making another one? You're just setting yourself up for disaster because you're never going to reach that bar. Yeah. Like, I don't think any studio that they let make a zombie game would ever be as good as The Last of Us. And so, in that sense, people are going to always compare it. And that's what's weird. Like, you're kind of saying, like, why they would have chosen to make a game in that genre that's so saturated, especially with Sony having a masterpiece like The Last of Us already in the zombie genre.
Yeah. I was thinking, why don't they just make Siphon Filter again? But then
know, that's what I'm
thinking. Again, it's hard to make shooters these days because all these Prime ones that are free, you know, there's a lot of good free ones. So I don't know how, it's probably very difficult.
They were great at stealth though, man. They were really good at the stealth genre.
And there's not many stealthy games these days.
Yeah,
that would be a good route. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, I'm saying like that would be a route I've been itching to play. I like stealth games.
Yeah, I know you love stealth.
So it's
games.
like I would love to that. I miss those. Those are huge on Xbox. Stone, remember that, dude? Like all the Siphon filters.
Yeah,
you were like day ones on those. You bought, I think, most of them.
Siphon Filter.
Siphon Filter.
No, I think you're thinking of Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell.
Oh, I'm thinking Splinter Cell, so I'm mistaking the two. Yeah, okay.
Splinter Cell was
right.
hardcore.
Splinter Cell was the one you were buying almost every day.
Yeah, those were dope too.
Those are excellent.
Dude, the double. What was the double one? It was
Double Agent.
Double Agent.
Yes.
That shit was
cool.
Killer. Yeah, that
Where's
was
that? Where'd
dude,
that ever go?
I need to see another Splinter Cell. That's what Microsoft needs to be doing.
Dude, those Splinter Cells were sick, dude.
The Tom Clancy's was good ass games, man. But yeah,
I just think that this Gavin guy screwed up.
Yeah,
he put everyone against
him. And
then,
well, his second part, don't complain if you didn't buy a game at full price at launch. It's like, dude, not all of us can afford games on. You know, if there's millions of games coming out this year, I'm trying to try them all. I'm gonna have to wait till they're on sales.
Yeah, there's gonna be some that are gonna take an L, man. Because there was a lot of things coming out at the same time that Days Gone had dropped. You know, there was some things that came out like right before it.
Especially when games are coming to all these, you know, Game Pass, Epic Store, PS Plus free games, PS Now, all these things.
Totally.
It's like, dude, it has to be like a Pokemon game where I know this shit ain't gonna be for free. Otherwise, I might just wait a little bit, you know? Like I got Cyberpunk for $17. Pretty much brand new 4 months later. So, you know, I'm going to wait unless it's like a renowned game. Like, I
What's
can't
he talking about, though, dude? Like, we play all sorts, like you're saying, Game Pass, all these games we have access to.
We don't mind
And
nothing.
if I end up loving it, I can't complain that I didn't get a sequel. Because I played it through Game Pass and I didn't buy. Like, that makes no sense.
Right.
Of course I can complain.
Yeah.
If I really like a game and they shit on making a sequel, I'm not allowed to complain. Why would I not be allowed to complain?
Yeah.
Because I didn't buy it on day one. We experience games in all different ways that come into our life.
You borrow it from a friend.
Yeah, borrowed it from a friend.
There's obviously some like behind the scenes frustration.
He's just frustrated.
Like
he's venting. He's just
saying,
frustrated. He's mad.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he wanted to make his game and they said no. And he's just venting.
But yeah, so I mean, all of this stuff, I kind of feel like it all kind of goes together. It's kind of like an entanglement of a sorts, that they're kind of working together. Hopefully PlayStation is able to get out of this rut. There shouldn't be where there's so many things that you're going back on or people are just disagreeing with, you know what I mean? Like disagreeing with closing the store. Oh, okay, I'm gonna open it again then. Or, if they decide to cancel Days Gone 2 and then they decide, okay, all right, you guys like it, we're gonna just let them keep making it. You know what I mean? You shouldn't be backpedaling and having to like recant stuff. I mean, obviously Xbox did it just recently, with some of their shit, but it's gonna happen. But it's just like, damn, be a little bit more in tune, read the room, kind of understand that we as the gamers want some of these options. Keep it as an option. Give less money to the studios to make what they're gonna make. I mean, if it's hemorrhaging you or something like that, what I mean? Okay, let you guys keep going, but we're gonna have to cut back on that budget. You guys aren't gonna be able to do this and that or whatever. Can you guys figure it out? Can you get it on the back end or
like,
what?
Based on your sales, we'll give you this much,
right?
Because that's what we'll anticipate a repeat,
right?
Or we'll give you a little bit more to make a new IP. You choose. That way it's not just saying no to you, right?
Yeah. I mean, that Ben Studios is working on something else.
Right.
So they are working on something else, a new IP or
Right.
whatever. But it's just that, people were frustrated about Days Gone, and whatnot. So I have not beat Days Gone yet, so I do not know the ending for there to be a justification of a 2. I'm assuming that there would be. But we'll have to see or whatever. Hopefully, you guys will play it and then kind of give your feedback on it or whatnot, later. But that's it. That's all we got for you guys this week. So once again, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If you have not subscribed yet, please do, because we got a giveaway. So, you got to subscribe in order to win. So subscribe, drop down in a comment how you feel about this information that's been kind of stirring up and brewing. Do you think something's wrong with PlayStation behind the scenes? Do you think they're worried too much about money? Should they be worried more about the customers that they're supplying for that will eventually give them the money? How do you feel about that stuff? And then maybe also give us what type of game you've been playing recently, so there might be some more tips. I don't know. Did you ever play that game that Arachne Soul was recommending?
The Disco Asylum? Not yet.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
that's on my list to
It's
buy.
on my list.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's on my list to buy.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you got any recommendations, drop them down there.
I just know.
But at least if you comment, you're entered in the giveaway, right?
Yep.
But
Please comment and subscribe.
Right.
Get that money.
Get that money.
Get
So
that money.
so like I said, we'll catch you later. Deuces.
Peace.
See ya.
I love you, me.